Hi, my dear students. Myself, Anuj Shishidharan, Academic Director and Biology Faculty of Rankings Entrance Training Academy. I welcome all of you in my new video lesson. Today, I am going to talk about Chapter 7 of Class 10, Control and Coordination. Dear students, do you remember the last lesson we have discussed different types of life processes in our body? We have discussed the digestive system, circulatory system, excretory system, etc. Did you think about which part of our body can control and coordinate all these life processes? You are very familiar. All these processes are interconnected. Okay, so which part of our body can control and coordinate all these activities? Yes, we have an important system called nervous system. Nervous system plays an important role in control and coordination of all life processes in our body. So in this lesson, we are going to discuss in detail how this control and coordination occur. First of all, I am going to discuss what is stimuli. As you know, the changes in the environment to which the living organisms respond are called stimuli. Dear students, suppose you think about if you are in a hot condition, what happens? Your body will respond by means of sweating. Am I right? If you are in a cold condition, what happens? Your body will start shivering. Here, the heat and cold are considered as the stimulus, and the shivering and sweating are considered as the response. Do you know the living organisms respond to stimuli in the form of body movements? Okay, next one, let me say what is coordination. You know, for a proper response to a stimulus, many organs in the body should work together. Yes, the working together of various organs in an organism to produce a proper response to a stimulus is called coordination. As you know, in animals, the control and coordination is done by the nervous system as well as a hormonal system called endocrine system. I hope you might learn the endocrine system in lower classes. What do you think about in case of plants, they are not having any nervous system for control and coordinate all these activities? So in plants, the control and coordination is done by certain type of chemical substances collectively called plant hormones or phytohormones. So first of all, we are going to discuss the coordination in animals. Dear students, the multicellular animals have specialized cells called nervous cells or neurons to respond to stimuli and coordinate their activities. I said we are having a well-developed system. Okay, a system made up of nervous cells is called nervous system. In simple multicellular animals, the coordination takes place through nervous system and muscular system only. But in higher level of animals called vertebrates, including human beings, the control and coordination takes place through nervous system as well as a hormonal system called endocrine system. In human beings, the nervous system and endocrine system work together to control and coordinate all the activities. So first of all, we have to discuss in detail the human nervous system. Dear students, you are very familiar. The human nervous system helps all other systems of our body to work together. The nervous system is made of special cells called neurons. As you know, the neurons are considered as the structural and functional unit of nervous system. And neuron is the largest cell in human body. This is actually the diagrammatic representation of a neuron. Look its structure. Its structure is actually specially adapted to be able to carry messages over large distance in the body very quickly. So first, next one we have to discuss the detailed structure of a neuron. I said neuron is one of the largest cell in human body. Now we are going to discuss the structure of a neuron. This is actually the diagrammatic representation of a neuron. Dear students, a neuron is actually having three components. First one is the cell body or soma. Second one is the dendrite, and third one is the axon. See, first of all, the cell body. Dear students, this is the cell body of a neuron. The cell body of a neuron is just like a typical animal cells, okay, which contains a centrally placed nucleus and all other cell organelles. This is actually the shorter fibers on the body of a neuron. The shorter fibers arising from the cell body of a neuron is collectively called dendrites. Look, all these are considered as the dendrites. Look, this is one of the longest fiber on the cell body. Dear students, this longest fiber on the cell body, we can call it as axon. At the end of the axon, it's highly branched, and each branch actually ends with a bulb-like or a swollen structure. This is called a nerve ending or synaptic knob. Look the structure of axon. You can see the axon is actually covered by means of an insulating and a protective sheath. This insulating and protective sheath, we can call it as myelin sheath. Okay, so do you know what is the function of this myelin sheath? The myelin sheath actually provide protection to the axon. Okay, it also allows the electrical impulses to transmit very quickly and effectively along the nervous cells. Okay, this myelin sheath is actually composed of proteins and fatty substances. You can see some specialized cells over here. The cells we can collectively call the Schwann cells, which can be able to secrete, which can be able to produce the myelin sheath. Okay, dear students, this is something about the structure of a neuron. Next one, let me say different types of neuron. Dear students, based on the function they are performing, there are three different types of neuron. First one is called a sensory neuron. Okay, second one motor neuron, and third one is the relay neuron. So do you know what is the meaning of sensory neuron? Sensory neuron actually transmits the information to the nervous system. Okay, and motor neuron, what is the function of motor neuron? It transmits the information from nervous system to the effector regions like muscles and glands. And third one is the relay neuron. Do you know the function of relay neuron? The relay neuron actually serve as a link between the sensory neuron and motor neuron. This relay neuron is commonly present in brain and spinal cord. Okay, this is actually the classification of neuron based on the function. Again, we are going to discuss how the transmission of messages occur through the neurons. Okay, so for learning the transmission of messages, first of all, we have to discuss the arrangement of neurons. Dear students, you are very familiar, the human body having billions of neurons. Do you know how these billions of neurons are arranged in our body? So first of all, we have to discuss how these billions of neurons arranged in our body. Look, the neurons are arranged in such a way that the nerve ending of one neuron come in contact with the dendrite of another neuron. This is the way in which the arrangement of neuron occur. You can see there is a fine gap between the nerve ending of one neuron and dendrite of another neuron. This is called a synapse. The synapse plays an important role in the transmission of messages from one neuron to another neuron. Okay, let me discuss the transmission of messages. Dear students, first of all, these dendrites pick up the nerve impulse or messages from the receptors. Okay, that's the first point. These dendrites pick up or absorb or pick up or this these dendrites pick up the nerve impulse or messages from the receptors. So do you know what is the meaning of receptor? Look, receptor is a cell or group of cells, okay, in a sense organ which is sensitive to a particular type of stimulus such as light, sound, smell, etc. Dear students, there are different types of receptors in our sense organ. Did you hear about photoreceptors? Yes, the photoreceptors are actually present in the eyes to detect the light. Okay, the receptors present in ears to detect the sound, we can call it as phonoreceptors. Did you hear about olfactory receptors? It's a type of receptors present in the nose to detect the smell. Okay, the receptors and the tongue to detect the taste, we can call it as gustatory receptors. And last one is called tango receptors in the skin to detect the touch. Okay, when you consider the skin, we are having different types of receptors. One of the most important receptor called tango receptors, which are able to detect the touch. So anyway, dear students, first of all, the dendrites pick up the messages or impulses from the receptors. Afterwards, what happened? That messages should enter into cell body. Okay, from the cell body, the messages pass or the impulses pass to the, the impulses actually pass to the cell body and then along the axon. Can you see? This axon passes the impulses to another neuron through a junction called a synapse. Now we are going to discuss how these electrical impulses transfer to the next neuron. In the beginning itself, I said the neuron actually transmit the impulses or messages in the form of electrical impulse. Okay, so when the electrical impulse reach at the end of the axon, especially at the nerve ending, what happened? This electrical impulse set off the release of some type of chemicals called neurotransmitters. Okay, these chemicals actually cross this gap. Which gap? The synapse. These chemicals which cross this synapse, okay, and start a similar electrical impulse in the dendrite of the next neuron. This is the way in which the electrical impulse transfer from one neuron to another neuron through the gap named synapse. So here the synapse actually acts as an one-way valve. You know, the electrical impulse travel actually only in one direction. So it actually acts as a one-way valve. Okay, this is the way in which the messages actually transfer from one neuron to another neuron. Finally, what happens? This electrical impulse crossed the neuromuscular junction. So, do you know what is the meaning of neuromuscular junction? This is the diagrammatic representation of neuromuscular junction. that is the junction between the nerve ending of one neuron and different types of muscles. So finally, that impulses cross this neuromuscular junction, and what happened as a result, it can stimulate the muscles and glands for the action. This is the way in which the nerve impulses travel through the neuron and finally reach at the effector region like the muscles and glands. Is it clear? I hope you have clear all the concepts related to the transmission of nerve impulse. Dear students, we have to discuss one more thing, that is the human nervous system consisting of two main parts. Which are the two main parts? First one is the central nervous system, and second one is the peripheral nervous system. Dear students, the human nervous system consisting of two parts basically, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system consisting of brain and spinal cord. Look this diagrammatic representation. Here you can see the brain and spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. Okay, this brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system includes cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Do you know what is cranial nerves? The nerves arising from the brain, we can call it as cranial nerves. Dear students, there are 12 pairs of cranial nerves in human. And the nerves arising from the spinal cord, we can call it as spinal nerves. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Okay, this is actually something about the human nervous system. The detailed aspects of human nervous system we will discuss in the next video. Okay, the next video we will discuss first of all the detailed structure of human brain. Okay, so anyway, I hope you have understood all the concepts thoroughly. Okay, you have to go through this video lesson again and again for better understanding. Thank you and have a nice